to start, because we are talking about crisis, about negative implementations, and I'm an honest optimist. I don't feel good to speak about crisis, about problems, and. But in this, in the very beginning, I would ask you, do you know that in Japanese, the word crisis has two meanings? The first is the normal meaning of crisis. That means destruction, collapse, disaster. But the second meaning is opportunity. And I would like to present all these problems, and I would appeal to face all these problems in the aspect of opportunities. Opportunities to develop new facilities, to have new possibilities for development, and also for personal and, of course, for social growth. I know that this sounds something unbelievable, but you will see that it's possible. I will start with the presentation of the situation. On the left side, you will see, it's the right side. No, on the left side, you will see the small synopsis of the situation. And the situation is so not very good. Let's say so, very cautious. The economic crisis is connected with unemployment, with poverty, with social exclusion. And this, especially to the vulnerable groups, young people, women, as mentioned already, and people who are not in position to be trained very fast in order to find new realization in this difficult world. If you read the figures, it's very bad. 120 million people of the population at the risk of poverty, of social exclusion. 10.7% of the active population is unemployed. 22.7% of the young people are unemployed. And as a top of the top, these demographic changes, that means that the size of the working age population is shrinking, and the population is getting older and older, and that means that you, as young generation, became something very bad as inheritance from the previous policy. And I wouldn't say from the previous generation, but from the previous policy of on the governmental, on national level, and also on European level, and at least in the world. Somehow the institution, the European Union, and the member states are trying to correct this. It was too long in order to react chaotic, not coordinated, and not so fast as it was necessary. But now, in accordance with this social investment package, and in accordance with the new regulations, This lack of information, of coordination, and of instrumentarium to correct the imbalances is already in the past. These are the measures which can be met in order to achieve the goal overcoming of the crisis. I already mentioned in the interview this proposal to increase the funds from the European Social Fund. 84 billion euro is a lot of money. And this 84 billion euro will be spread among the member states in accordance with their national strategy to how to resolve the social problems of the economic and financial crisis. So that it's also not only responsibility of the European Union, but also of the member states, of the national governments, how they will spend and how they will spend the money and how they will plan the national measures to overcome the crisis. I already mentioned this very useful and important youth employment package with the two main instruments, how to support the young people, to give the guarantee and to give them the overview of the possibilities, not only on national level, not across the neighboring countries, but in the whole European Union. The program, the European financial program, with this budget of 885 million euros, is expiring in 2013, but it's still available for project. And as you see, it's available not only for projects within the European states, but also is broadened to Caucasus, to Turkey, is broadened to Southeast Europe, to Mediterranean, and everyone from you being a member of an organization could inspire your colleague in order to elaborate such a project and to apply for financial support from the European Union. Because we are speaking with different words on European level, I have mentioned some of the key words, some of the key jargon on European level. Please tell me how many from you are aware with this wording. How many people do know what does it mean? Excellent. It's not too much. 2, 3. You are not sure?
No, I was just...
You want to just ask something? Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, I should point it out. You may ask questions every minute. Yeah, you can. You may interrupt me. You may intervene. You may make a statement. So, good. 3 people. It's so under the level of the European information, of the normal European information, but it's not your fault. I think that this is the fault of the European instrumentarium and of the European policy, really. That's why is this gap between the institutions and this wording, this European jargon, and the citizenship. And that's why the European instrumentarium and the institutions became more and more unpopular using such words. They are not known by the broad public. And this is the problem of the European Union. And this problem could be resolved with common efforts from the European Union, giving money and financial support, and from the citizens and citizens' organization applying for money with projects in order to make clear what does it mean. What does it mean Europe 2020 or Europe 2020? Europe 2020 is this initiative of the European Commission. This is the strategy of the European Commission for the next development till 2020. And this is the whole package. In this package, you will find the different policies which will be implemented till 2020 and supported by the European Union. Here are some key words, for example, like Youth on Move, or Agenda for New Skills and Jobs, or European Platform Against Poverty and Social Exclusion. Especially the first one, the young people the most, how to say, are the best part of the society, because first they have a lot of time in order to react and to make changes. Secondly, they have so-called revolutionary spirit. They are not willing to bear the prejudice of the old generations, and they want to expire and to invent the possibilities for themselves and also for the society. And this is also the big advantage for the young people. That's why the young people should have the possibility to move within the European Union, to meet from their national country and from one residence to another. And this is this program in supporting the willingness of the young people for change and to establish themselves where they like to be or to work or to live. You can use this possibility as persons, as individuals, but you can use this possibility also as members of organizations, formal or informal organizations, so that it's a good not only challenge, not only opportunity. I think it's a good practical approach to have this in mind and to make or to adapt the measures and the instruments proposed by the European institutions for your own needs. Here you are, of course, an individual on the first place, but you are also a non-governmental organization or informal group or a local or regional group or organization, or you are willing to develop a project, and you have these possibilities. Staying in touch with the beginning of my lecture, I would like to present you the approach, how to approach these possibilities. There are two I mean, within this program for the young people, there are two main approaches: on national, through national instruments and level, and on European. Through national, there are national agencies. In every member state, there are national agencies for young generation, for young people. And these are the deadlines. You will find this also later on on the website of the youth program of the European Commission, or I recommend the European level. This is the executive agency, and these are the deadlines for submitting projects: 1st February, 3rd of June, and 3rd of September. These are the main issues which you can address with a project. The education and training, the employment, the health, participation in the social life, voluntary activities, social inclusion, and youth and world, and creativity and culture. Especially for ICD, I think is interesting, the last one, creativity and culture, but you can decide to apply with the other interesting project issues. So this is the European Agenda for Culture, promoting access to culture for young people. If you want, we can make a stop here in order to brainstorm what idea do you have for proposals, for project development, for needs, especially on this point. What do you say? How could we develop? Do you have some ideas about promoting access to culture for young people? How do you imagine to make a project from ICD or from the young part of your team, formal or informal, for cultural diplomacy or promoting access to culture, in cooperation with your colleague, with your partners within the European Union or outside the European Union, including also some neighboring countries which are not still member of the European Union, or they are in this broad geographical dimension, as previously mentioned. Okay. Let's start with the needs. What needs? What do you want? What do you think is necessary to do in order to make a project, or to cover some interest from you?
My colleagues who are originally from Poland, they organized an event as a goodbye party, and we had the pleasure and opportunity to taste traditional Polish vodka, and also they presented a movie about Polish, maybe young culture among the youngsters. There was 2 people young, they were traveling around the country and showing other aspects of Poland, so I think this is something that can be like promoting access to culture for young people. Because usually people, when promoting culture, people think of traditions that are rooted centuries ago in the history. However, on Monday we saw something modern for youngsters.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Something like eat, laugh, and what was? Yeah. And pray, yeah. Do you think we need such project? Yes?
Hello. First of all, I think that the main problem with youth today is motivation, because normally when we finish university or master's degree, we find ourselves in a total confusion. And then I think the second problem is the fact that we lack information. Because during high school, for example, we are accustomed with professors and teachers telling us what to do, what competitions to take, and then we find ourselves alone. So I think that we need more motivation, and we need to build up teams of young people willing to do something, willing to change something, because ideas for themselves don't just come. I think we need to talk, we need to communicate, we need to build up groups, we need to do networking, and that was exactly what we talked the last meeting we had with the committee. We thought that we should do networking, we should have different events with embassies, we should create like conferences for young people, a database. And I think that these kind of projects are really good, but when they lack visibility, it's really difficult to achieve their purpose. So I think more advertising, but like a creative advertising, more social advertising and not political advertising would be a good idea, because we are not that keen in hearing speeches from politicians. We want more dynamics, we want more like fun, like what Sophia said, we're trying to find out new aspects of culture, because the ones we know aren't really positive and don't motivate us. So
okay.
That's my point of view.
Good.
Thank you.
May I ask a question? Do you know what does it mean, the three freedoms of movement on European level? Okay. Sorry?
We can move freely within the European Union. No passports needed, no visas needed. Free movement.
Yes.
And
Yes. You can travel?
Yeah, freedom of education, we can choose an European education, freedom of working, and freedom of traveling. Maybe.
Yeah, good, thank you. This is only the one aspect of the free movement. On European level, if we are talking about free movement, we understand free movement of goods, free movement of financial capitals, and free movement of people. And the free movement of people, the core of of this free movement is the right of establishment. That means that we, as European citizens, we have the right to decide where to establish ourselves, not only in our national state. We have the right to establish in me as Bulgarian in Germany, or in France, or the French people in Germany, or in Belgium. And what does it mean? Which are my rights as the right of establishment? Do you know or not? Obviously, this is a gap. What do you say if we or you elaborate a project on this issue? To elaborate a project with your partners in 1, 2, 3, 5 countries, in order to make clear what does it mean for me, the right of establishment. That means that I have the right to find job in another member state, not only my national member state, to have the social and pension also a payment, to have the right to vote for the local authorities in the state where I'm establishing or where I have established myself, different from my national country. Also to have the right to vote for the members of the European Parliament in this country of establishment. I think that this is very important, And it's also very attractive for the young people to know that they have so many rights which they can use if they were good, well informed. And if you elaborate a such project, I think that you can be nice surprise how welcome you will be among your colleagues, among your friends in all European countries, in all European member states. Because the most of the people, not only young people, but for the young people, as mentioned, is especially important to know this. For the most of the people, it's not popular, it's not well known. And if you make such project to make public discussions, to make training sessions about your rights as European citizens, not as a nationals of one or second member states, but as European citizens, I think that it could be very, very successful. This project. Something or new ideas, new proposals in this aspect? For example, next year, 2014, there are European elections for the members of the European Parliament. Do you know how to vote? What does it mean?
How to vote?
Where to vote? How to vote? What rights do you have as voters, as European voters?
I don't know how to reply that. I know that I have the right to go and vote for whomever I want.
Yeah.
Where I live.
Okay.
And that's what I did the last time.
What nationality are you?
I'm Greek.
You are Greek. Yeah. And you are based in Berlin?
Germany, yeah, Berlin.
In Berlin. Okay. And to vote for the members of the European Parliament, you should go to Greece, or how is it?
I can vote from here.
Excellent, yeah, you can vote from here. But you know that not everyone from the broad public knows this. And that's why this lack of information was identified by the European Commission. And that's why there are measures and financial resources for support this information. If you decided to spread such information, you can win a project, European financed project. Okay. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
I was thinking, you said that we need to know that we can move in Europe, and this problem of mobility, I mean it's happening. I think people are moving and they know that as European now everything is easier, and you need to go to other countries in order to get other experience, languages. But at the end, right now, I feel like when you go to another country, you're still somehow the problem that you're going to find is not a problem of rights or being European, but more there's still a national integration that comes first. If I come to Germany, I'm not really going to think that because I'm a European, I'm not going to find all these problems, and finding a job will be always more difficult. Even if I'm European and I know I have the right to work here and to be happy here and to have the same rights that in my country, I know that here you're going to find these obstacles. I don't know if maybe the language, also the culture, the understanding, the way of working, all these plays a role. So should, like, what measure can be taken? Like, it's a matter of that the companies needs also, and the organizations need to become more European at the same time. Like, should English become more important in terms of working, and maybe the languages, the language should have a really important role, because I don't know, is it going to change at some point? We're really going to have the same opportunities in every country.
I think, Mary, that you described the framework of a future project. What does it mean for me to have the right of establishment? Am I equal to a German woman or to a German person, or I need to adapt myself, or the society needs to adapt to my expectation. And if we decide to make a project, we can point out some specific and common, of course, not only personal problems, in order to address this and to try to resolve these problems of adaptation through cultural diplomacy. And it could be achieved by the instruments of the European financing.
Can I have another question?
Yeah.
How do you see the youth? Like, do you see a youth that is ready to really take a lead and that is experienced enough and educated enough? And it's a problem that maybe this youth is very educated and very prepared, but the lack of motivation to come from the crisis, or you see maybe a youth that is maybe not well prepared because the education system was not perfect and there's a gap there, or how do you see the youth? Because this lack of motivation, does it come from the fact that they don't have enough, like the youth doesn't fit in this system, or is it their fault because they're not pushing enough? How do you see that?
Yeah. To be very honest, I don't see the young people as a common mass. There are different representatives. Some of them are very ambitious, and some of them are willing to move, to establish where they want to be. Some of them are very, some of them are not flexible. Some of them need to be motivated. And that's why we should address different messages and different instruments to the different groups. Yeah.
Just because I have the feeling, like maybe in the past, I'm going to talk about Spain because it's where I'm, and maybe in the past, in the last 10 years, everyone was like given the same, everyone needed to go to the university. Now everyone needs to do a master's degree. I mean, and that became pretty clear. Like everyone, like if you don't go to the university, like you are out of society. Which I mean, is of course I think it's good to encourage to go to the university, to do a master's degree, and to have more education. But maybe there was a lack of really, maybe at the secondary education, at the secondary school, to really help people to know what they need to do in the future, what you are.
Lack of information and of encouraging measures. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And suddenly we have a big mass of university of people with a degree, and maybe they don't really know what to do with it, because at the beginning they were not even sure they could this, because well, they heard that it could give them a good work, and at the end maybe these careers could give a good work, but because it was not really your thing or where you can. So how can we face also this problem right now for the future generation?
For example, it can be very simple. For example, a team from you, from Greece, from Spain, from the Netherlands, you can organize yourself and elaborate a project in order to present your experience in different countries. You can say, okay, as a Greek nationality, I have this experience in German. I have faced this and these problems, but I have faced also this and these big advantages. As a Spanish young woman, I have this and these problems, and I decided why I decided. You can visit, or you can make a public debate or some meetings with your friends, colleagues. For example, in Romania, in Austria, in Bulgaria, and so you can encouraging also your friends, your collaborators, your partners in the other countries to take advantage from the European right of establishment and from the free movement of persons. It's very simple, I would say. It could be also very interesting. Can you imagine? You will meet your friends, or you will meet new people, new friends, and you can eat and drink. You can try, for example, Bulgarian rakia, Polish vodka, etc. It can be, it can be a lot of fun. And it is not so difficult to elaborate such a project. Other question? Here, this is the next funding for 2013 European Year of Citizens. These are two main issues or measures. The citizen projects, and this is this measure is aiming to eliminate this gap between the citizens, between the European institutions, in order to spread more information about the European values and about the European rights. The deadline is 1st of June. There are a lot of money, and also one project can be between 100,000 and 250,000 euro. If you have some ideas, you can try, and you can also make some research in the European sources, and you will find guidelines for application, forms for application, and if you need some support, you're welcome. This is the second measure, and the measure we understand in accordance with the European jargon, we understand global issue, global topic. This is a project for establishing of cooperation. If you have partners among the member states, or if you would like to establish a partnership with other member states, you can use this financial support from the European Citizens Program. Some questions. It's not easy, but it is not impossible. I mean, to elaborate project, because there are guidelines, because there are experts, because you can share the problems with other. It's a matter of initiative. Some questions. According to the presentation or not? Yes. Sophia.
Thank you. My question is, in order to develop such a project, should I be registered on behalf of some organization, or just it can be me and some other people as simple citizens?
Yeah, this measure too, and the projects for the European Citizens program are for NGOs. You are not allowed to apply as a single person, but the measures and the initiatives and the profits from the youth program, you can apply as an individual and also as member of NGO or informal group. Another question? Oh, comments?
before Elvira.
I love active people.
Thank you. So we touched this topic about how prepared we are, and like Elvira also said, also my colleague Christina, that we actually go out of university and we don't know what to do. And you also try to promote that we should be more active, but should that activity come only from us? Because I feel that sometimes I'm left alone, there is no organization or no one to help me, and I have to organize everything, I have to be active. Then I see some kind of barrier. For instance, people do not trust me because I'm too young and inexperienced. Elvira said something about the high school, that people do not prepare us something for the future, that we don't know what we want to do or something. And on our organization, BIC, I think it was from Austria, Erhard Buschsack, he mentioned something, that it's really a problem that some of the teachers in high school are not quite prepared to face, like to properly educate us and prepare us for university, and later on to find a job or how to develop our professional career. So my question is it all that has to come from us, or we can count on some support?
Yes, I understand. It's the education. It's also under the responsibility of the national state. But I agree that there should be a coordination among the educational institutions in the member states in order to create a common understanding for the preparation of the young people for life. This is at least the reason, the aim of the education. You should not stay only theoretical or without a practical impact. But I also realize that it's very common that at the university our young people don't receive the respective practical guidelines for the life and for the implementation of the knowledge acquired at the universities. I think that this should be special requirements from the European policy towards the national educational institutions. And not only to coordinate the degrees and the level of the education, but also the substance and the context of the education in view of the practical aspect of the implementation of the professional education. Yeah. So, friends?
So, any other questions?
Are you bored already?
You were talking about education right now and how we could adapt it to better prepare people for the actual jobs. But don't you think that in terms of education, the EU could also push for... Okay, so you say there's a lack of information, which I agree with, because, for example, my family lives in Austria, and in Austria, you're allowed to vote when you're 16 years old. So people who have no idea about politics whatsoever, because they haven't been taught, are voting extreme right because they had a bad experience with a Turkish person. You know, so I'm saying the same thing should apply to educating them about the European Union at an age between 16 and 18, where they can then make a conscious decision with enough information so that they know what they're voting, that they can vote for an MEP. And
you are totally right, and this is the part of the European policy calling long life learning. Learning till you're alive. And there are also special measures, including also financial support for such initiatives. It's matter of information and also of initiative to use these financial resources. for education and for a long life learning.
Do you have any other questions?
Questions, comment?
Yeah, hello. Maybe I could
I will be very happy if you present yourself
Yes.
with the names.
Yeah, my name is Peter, and I'm from Slovakia, but I've been living away from my country for 6 years now. And maybe I would comment on the issue of information. Maybe I was the lucky one because I was studying abroad, so I'm aware of European Union development and what's happening in Europe. But I'm always struck when I'm going back to see my family and I see my friends and who don't have any idea about what's happening out there. There's no access to information. Okay, there's internet, but there's no forcing. There's no aspect of forcing these people to go there and check this out. There's a national TV, maybe they have a cable TV, but there's no real, access to this information. There's a possibility to go and check it, but it's not provided. You don't have evening news. If you check any national TV, Germany, England, Slovakia, maybe there's one aspect covered, maybe what's happening in European, and most of the time it's negative or the crisis or whatever. But you don't hear anything positive or anything that could be inspiring young people. That yes, I want to learn more about it. Yes, I want to do my own projects. That I want to do something. And I think that's the problem that many young people are not informed. I mean, maybe we are the lucky one here because we are really, out of our countries and trying to get experiences. But most of my friends in Slovakia, for example, they have no idea. And now always we end up in argument about the different points of views on issues.
Yeah.
And I'm always, disappointed, to be honest, because in these times, and then it leads to national movements, because they are promoting, and it's very complicated, I would say.
Yeah, I understand you, and I can only strongly encourage you in order to develop, to elaborate such a project, to present before your friends in Slovakia, in Greece, in Austria, in Spain. What does it mean for me that I am European citizens? And you can demonstrate this right of establishment and these citizens' rights as European citizens before your friends, before your colleagues. It shouldn't be so difficult. You can organize this very easily, or not without effort, but it's possible. Yeah, okay.
I love the efforts, I love the information, I agree with everything, free movement, but people are very right to be disappointed and having different opinions and actually not trusting the European Union. Romanians from Romania, they were deported from France 2 years ago. It's not free movement. Europe is supporting free movement in theory. I can go to many people in Greece and tell them, hey, you can go anywhere in Europe. They don't have the money for ticket. They don't have the money to eat. They don't have the money to buy TV shows, to watch the news. They don't have the money. They don't. European Union is a group of countries that benefits few, the elites. They can move. They can take advantage of people. And there is a very, very big part of Europeans who are starving and cannot do anything.
May I know your name?
I'm Dante.
Dante. Dante, not Alighieri. Good, but Dante.
Yeah, it comes from here.
Dante, may I disagree with you?
Of course you may.
Yes, the European rights are not only for the elite. If it were so, you wouldn't be here. So the European rights are for all of us. That's why I'm here in front of you. That's why you are here. And that's why you are using your rights as European citizens. I think that we should, on this point, I agree with you that it's very difficult. Life became very difficult.
We made it.
Yeah, but, yes, that's true. But if we put the stress on negativism, on difficulties, that means we don't have another opportunity. We will not see the opportunity if we remain on the difficulties, on the negativism, or on the bad examples. I am not saying that we should agree with the bad examples of our life, but I'm strongly supporting the optimism. And I think that we should be optimists in order to can develop ourselves and things. Otherwise, what can we do? Just to realize that life is unfair, life is not easy, that such bad things have happened to our neighbors, to our friends, to the Roma population. Yeah, that's true. But if we give up, that means, for me, that we don't have any possibility to change this thing, the negative things.
Yeah, that's what we have to change.
Yeah.
The Union itself.
Yeah, to have to change. And
That's why we have to get educated how to vote.
And to know that we are important in this process for changes. We are important, not only the institutions. Yes.
Hello, I am Alberto from Spain, and I see that this is a paradox because by one hand we say that the people is disappointed with the European Union, but the European Union now is doing the policies that we elect in 2009, because we have our European Parliament with a right with the right party is a big majority. Then the European Parliament is a red majority. The Barroso Commission, even Barroso is from the right party from Portugal, and it's not exactly the right party like in Germany or in other countries, but it's a right European Commission. Then we have right policies, the austerity, etc., and the problems with the free movement, etc. But because in the elections in 2009 we had this decision. It's okay that the percent of the people who went to this election is 50%, 55%, 45%. It depends of the country, but it's the same. We have this problem because the people don't participate in the elections, and in the other hand, we are all of the time speaking about the information, the laws, the rights, but the European Union is, from my point of view, is more a problem about the feeling. What is the European Union? It's not something about the reasons, it's about the feelings. Because when we speak about the European Union, and not for us, because we are young people, we study in other countries, etc., but for the 80 or the 90% of the societies, of the normal people from our parents or grandparents, the European Union is something really slow, bureaucracy, far away in Brussels, and then we need to create, first of all, a feeling more than a reason about what is the European Union. Because the European Union is positive from all of us. Just with 60 or 70 years without wars in Europe is good, but also we had a lot of benefits. But we need to go from this law information, from this reasonable point of view, to create some feeling about the European Union, to share the common flag, the common songs, I don't know. The
common spirit, yes.
Yes, common spirit. And then if we recover this spirit and this feeling, the people will be more involved, and then the people will participate, and then maybe we will change the European Parliament, and then the policies that we are taking care about in the European Union. And that's, for me, is the paradox. The people don't care about the European Union, and then the European Union don't care about the people.
Alberto, I think you have spoken to the European Commission and you have been heard, because the European Commission realized also this this problem, And it's really a matter of personality. You will vote for the European, not for the European Parliament as an institution. You will vote for personalities. And that's why, according to the last decision, it's only from 1 week, the European Commission decided to urge the national representatives to present the politicians and the personalities whom they presented to the voters. Not vote for X, Y, Z. Vote for this and this person, because he belongs to this party, he is part of this society, he is part of this professional group, and he has this qualification. And that's why I think it's very important to start preparation for the next European Parliament elections in order not to develop Euroscepticism, but to benefit from the European citizens' right, and to urge the national politics and European institutions also to present personalities whom we like, and whom we would like to represent us in the European Parliament. So, yeah.
So I had one question regarding the project you talked about.
Yeah.
I was curious about how will you prevent corruption when it comes to this kind of projects? Because for example, in Romania, from where I come from, European projects, European funds are a great opportunity to obtain money, let's say like this, and to be corrupt. So the NGOs that receive the funds are normally the biggest NGOs, and they don't usually use the money in the right way, if you know what I mean. So what are the measures that you can take in order to prevent corruption when it comes to this kind of projects?
Okay, I can share my experience as a European expert, because I am also a European expert who is acting for the European Commission as evaluator of such projects. There are measures in order to avoid corruptions, and each project should be evaluated from 2 independent experts. We don't know each other. I don't know who is the second one. We should evaluate the project, and if we have, for example, if we have 20 points difference, we should make the conciliation. If we don't agree, and if we don't achieve the conciliation, we should appoint, or the Commission should appoint, the 3rd evaluator in order to evaluate the project. Of course, we sign also declaration that we are not personally involved in every single project which we could evaluate, that we don't have some direct or indirect connections with the applicant or with the partner. These are the measures. Of course, we cannot say that or declare that 100% is everything is clear and without some cases of corruption. But everyone, the institution and persons involved in this project are strongly observed, and they also very strongly they are responsible for this declaration and for the evaluations. This is what can be done in such cases. Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask a question. What's the number of applications or proposals you receive, and what's the success rate of these proposals?
Oh, it's different. It's different, and I'm missing the statistic. But it's not an issue task to elaborate project. You cannot be, of course, sure that elaborating a project it will be 100% successful. Maybe not the first, the second, the third, but it's not so difficult. So.
Do we have any other questions? No? Well, if we don't, maybe it's a good moment to close and to express our gratitude.
I have to thank you. I have to thank you.
Excuse me, I had a question or a comment, maybe both. You know, it's ironic. I mean, I talk to the young people here, and I was once their age, if you can believe it. And there's an irony here because when I was in college, people used to come in and recruit the students in their third year, maybe even their second year if they had something happening, and there was a lot of jobs available. People always talked about, you know, growth, 1%, 2%, 3%. Now people are talking about, well, just keeping things stable. We have a situation in Greece, we have what's going on in Cyprus. You put your money in the bank, and people are having you pay for their mistakes. You know, it's a vivid reality. One question would be, what would you say to the youth of Cyprus, on the one hand, about the near future, and then the distant future? I mean, because I'm a 60s person, and I was a teenager in the 60s, and that was a time of great turmoil and upheaval, and the Vietnam War, and women's rights, and civil rights, and human rights, and all these things are going on. And now, years later, 40-some years later, I see, you know, some of the same problems that exist. Or no one thought then that they would go away automatically, that's clear. But to see this, to see young people asking about, well, will I have employment ever? You know, what are the chances? But the one question was about, what would you say? Could you make some comment about that?
Yeah.
The other thing is, isn't it really true that in a certain sense, we're talking about a failed system, almost a failed state in a certain way, that a lot of the people who are coming to represent the past have actually failed?
Okay, thank you. So to your first question, to the Cyprus young people, I would say the same things, that now we are in crisis situation, but I don't think that we can resolve this problem being passive. And I would encourage them more and more to use their rights, their possibilities, and to be almost aggressive, voting for persons and pretending to be important and to get support from the state, from the institutions, by searching a job, by training opportunities, using these training opportunities, by acquiring new profile or new professional abilities, and using all these instruments, all these possibilities in favor of their personal development. About the failure of the system, it's interesting for me to observe and to follow up these developments. I have been grown up during the communism. We have also different systems. We have devoted our efforts, my young generation, to the future good communist system, which didn't happen, which failed. Now I'm living during another period, devoting my efforts to the European Union. And I can assure you that there is big difference between my first system and the second one. Having in mind all the problems, all the skepticism among the broad public. But I think that now, even if we have problems, crises, misunderstanding, skepticism, we have chance to develop this system. And this is the big difference between my first system and the second one. Thank you. It was a pleasure to answering your question, to hear your comments, being with you. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was also a pleasure for us.
Oh, for you too. Thank you.